Alright guys, if you're just now joining me, we are just getting started. I'm going to pick up where I left off yesterday. Yesterday at the end of the stream, I was working through passing variables to an object on object creation. And at the very end of the stream yesterday, I basically had to abandon that whole idea. It would be really awesome if you could create an object and immediately pass variables into it, and then the step events of that object would respond appropriately. But from everything I could tell, when I tried to basically handle it that way, um, it just didn't want to respond correctly. So I had to abandon that, and I ended up then um, moving most of the code out of that object creation, the way I was trying to create the object, into the controller through scripts. And I'll just kind of show you right here. So here's the object we were working with. We have this explosions controller, and we have two of them. We have a base controller that I created, and I'll show you what's inside of that. And I know for sure that is going to be in here. So I have a base controller explosions in it and a base controller explosions animation. So this base controller has a create event, which then calls that script, which then sets variables here. And these are just the generic variables. I'm basically just declaring the variables in the init of the base object, which is basically the parent object. And I'll show you the relationship here in a minute. So you can see right here that there is a child of this object, and it's right here, declared right here in GameMaker. Also, this is this object right here is the child of this object. So the step event for the parent object looks like this. It's calling the base controller explosions animation. Guess what? This is all the work we were trying to do, and we were trying to do it in the creative way that we were trying to handle it by passing in variables to an object on creation. However, back to that really quick, GameMaker doesn't support that. The only variables that you can pass in are X and Y variables, exactly where the instance is going to be created at. So any variables that you want to occur with an object basically have to get declared in that object and can't be passed into that object. The benefit of being able to pass them into an object would be that you could have dynamic variables and you could change the impact of one. I should maybe say change the amount of, for this one would be a good example, change the amount of explosions for one set of explosions. Say you wanted to do 5 explosions this time, and you would pass that variable in, and you wanted to do 3 a different time, or you wanted to do 20 a different time. That would be awesome. But instead of doing something like that, basically what you have to do is get really crazy with inheritance and make sure that you're creating child objects that inherit from a parent object, and then you're changing those variables slightly as you're creating them. Alright, so this is the parent object once again. We're looking at that, and then we go look at the child object, which we can see here the relationship. The parent object is listed here, and it has a create event, which then calls its own init. Init is just short for initialization or initialize, and you see here that we go ahead and inherit what the parent created, and then we set our own custom variables here, and then it is also helpful to set what type of explosion we would like to happen. Again, this is like a controller for an explosion. So we would like to set the type, and then when it comes through on the parent step event, when it calls this script for animation, it then looks at the type and creates that particular type at this particular XY position. This is helpful because, all my explosions aren't just blood animations. But to make a long story short, we're in a really good spot right now. I've had to, the last couple days, of course, if you've been following along, you know that we're trying to get ready for MGC. And we're going to be there on April 11th and 12th, and we're actually going to have a cabinet there. And MGC's got everything set to free play, so everybody will be able to play all the way through what we've got built so far. And so I've had to do a little bit of backtracking the last couple days. I've been wanting to basically work on the Griffin special, and as you can see, that's my current task on stream. But as I was testing the Griffin special and the Katana was having the exact same problem. The Griffin special wasn't connecting as cleanly and as crisply as I wanted it to, and neither was the Katana. Basically, with the Katana, you would swipe a set of popcorn eyeballs, and you would get, your Katana would definitely hit maybe 5 or 6 of them, but you would only get like 2 or 3 of them. And there was some problems with the animation, the way the animation was occurring. So I kind of backed that out. I fixed the animation on the popcorn eyeballs, but there was still a problem on the Katana and the Griffin special. So basically the problem was that the enemy couldn't die until the entire death animation completed, which had something to do with the blood explosions. And so now that that's been fixed, it just feels really clean to swipe specifically the floating eyeballs, the febs as we call them, with the Katana. And I'll show that to you here in a second. I feel like there might still be some work to do on the popcorn eyeball, but we'll take a look at that. I also want to kind of feel out the Griffin special animation, and I've got a couple more things to do on the Griffin special. One other bug creeped up at the end of the night last night when I was basically done, which was now that the Griffin special can be activated, every time the Griffin special was being activated when the boss came up, there was some weird extra, basically the sounds were occurring over and over again for the Griffin animation, and there was a weird insert coin bug that started occurring. So I haven't ever seen why that would happen. I've never seen that bug happen up to this point, but it happened more than once yesterday. And I have a feeling it either has to do with so much going on screen at once, which shouldn't be the problem, or there's been a control that's been slightly changed, and now the insert coin event happens over and over again. So let's just hop in game. I'm going to show off kind of where we're at and where this explosion child-parent inheritance has gotten us with specifically the floating eyeballs, the ones that look like jellyfishes as they go across screen. So right now I'm in the process of compiling and just kind of waiting for that to complete. Okay, looks like we're almost finished here. Usually the first time I load the compile, basically load the game, it usually takes a little bit longer than normal. And of course there's a lot going on too. I mean, we've got several video files and several large sound files in here now, so by far those are the things that take up the most space, video and sound. Still waiting. All right, here we go. Looks like it's moving.
Skycurser. Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Okay, so there's about 6 sets of these popcorn eyeballs coming up first. Then right after that we have the floating eyeballs here. And the explosion just looks incredible. And the connection with each of them to the katana feels so right. Yeah, so that look and feels so good. There's so the Griffin special doesn't quite feel right. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit here to get to a second part of the stage. Pull out the Griffin special. And see, the Griffin special is largely connected, but it just can't connect fast enough with all these units. And so that is the main thing that I need to fix right now. I'm going to take a search. We just introduced the Griffin special. If you're joining us, we just introduced it, and we got it up there really quick, and we now have to go back and make sure it just kind of feels right throughout the game. That's going to be one other thing. Before you continue, something like give the player extra specials. Well, we're going to kind of rework exactly how the specials work after NGC. Okay, nothing happened. So to Beastly Bro, yeah, the kill counter was there. Alright. So yeah, man, the kill counter was there, and so you can see, you were probably able to see just a second ago, basically, if you're using the special right when you either basically when you get into a freeze position where the game kind of takes over, disables all controls, then there's this weird insert coin bug that just recently introduced itself after I introduced the Griffin special. So trying to knock that out and fix that up. So can you hear me now, Beastly Bro? You should be able to. I just turned down the music a little bit. But yeah, I was saying the kill counter was there. Okay. Gonna focus on... Let's see if we can knock that bug out. The problem is that, well, let's do this first. Let's rate limit how many Griffin specials you can use. I think that would probably be the best way to go about this. And we're going to put those right next to the amount of lives that you have. I think that's going to be in script reset game. So let's see, global dot, still looking here. Okay, it's not in here, which is fine. I'm guessing it's in the controller. Is that true? Not there either. Here's how we do this. Just do a search. Guys left. How about lives? It's been so long since I've messed with the lives functionality. Lives left, that's where it is. And where does it get created? That's what I'm looking for. Step event, it's handled. Draw event, we output how many are there. Script, enemy one die. Lives left, create event, level 1. Which definitely makes sense because we are creating lives left initially when you enter the room for level 1, and this controller is the same controller for story mode and meat mode. So let's go to lives left. Here we go. If global.last mode is equal to story and global.mode is equal to meat mode, maintain the score and the amount of lives basically. But we're also going to do this global dot POW Griffin specials equals 3. And we're going to decrement that when Skycurser activates it. So Skycurser is right here. Going to go to the step event. We haven't moved everything out of the step event yet to scripts. So we're looking for where the Griffin special gets activated, which should be right above here. Let's check it out here. Nope, nope, nope. Try this again. I think it's down here. Katana. This is exactly why this needs to be cleaned up here. Here it is, Griffin Special. So as soon as this gets activated, we're going to say global dot POW GS minus equals 1. And we won't let them activate it if global dot POW GS is greater than 0. So we will let them activate it if global.pow Griffin special is greater than 0, but if it's not greater than 0 and it is less than or equal to 0, they will not be able to activate it. Perfect. This is going to be so simple to control. So the last thing that we'll do here is then go control the output so that the player can see exactly how many specials they have left. And let's find that really quick. That should be in the draw event of the controller. And that's the persistent controller. Oh, that's the level 1 controller. I'm looking for the persistent controller. So let's find that really quick. Controller persistent. Specifically, we're looking for the draw event, and here we can output our information. And trying to remember what's up in the top left. I should be able to see that here in just a second. Kills is in the center. Guys, I think is on the left, but I have to verify that. Let's see. Draw score at bottom, above lives. Except it's no longer at the bottom. It's at the top. Because we changed this a while back. Draw lives at the top left. So that's what's at the top left, and then credits at the top right. That's perfectly fine. So what we'll do here is get the height of this message and then add a little bit more on top of it. So this message is string message lives. So let me just make sure I've got the syntax correct here. String height. Okay, so our next, and again, these should all be moved over to scripts as well. Again, because I'm working GC, I'm taking a few shortcuts here, and I'm definitely going to have to go back and update all of this. But there's a lot of code that could be reduced here as well, and everything run through a specific script. Draw POW, Griffin Special at top left, underneath lives, and this will be string global.powgs, and we will concatenate to that first. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, glad you're here, man. You've been here like almost every day for like about a week. I've only been streaming for about 2 weeks, so thanks for showing up every day that I'm here, man. Alright, so we're going to create a string here, and the string will be POW string equals POW plus global, I'm going to go string here, global.powgs, and I think we can then, because we've got it set like that, we can just say POW string right here. But we got to figure out what the height of this string is, and there's a way to do that, and we're going to say so 2 is the position that lives left starts at, the Y position, and we want to go ahead and keep that, but we also want to figure out what the height of string message lives is. And so now that that's been output, we're in a good spot. And then we also want to let's just multiply this times 2 to give a little bit of space in between, just to see what that looks like. And then we're going to put this string in the viewport. We're going to draw the text in the viewport, the X position, plus the position that we've started with here. That's 2 pixels from the left of the screen. And then, because when we set it to 2, that's moving right from 0. And then our Y position is the Y position score, and I'm going to just change this so it makes a little more sense. X position POW, Y position POW, and then Y position POW plus the string height of message lives times 2, because we want to make sure that it's a little bit further than that. That may be too far, but let's just take a look at that. And I think that might be all we have to do to show how many specials the player has left, at least for now. So we're going back to compiling. If you've been watching lately, you know that compile time takes about half a minute to a minute. And we're in game, going in.
Mission 1, Death at Dusk.
Got a bug immediately. Let's see what this is here. Let's go back here. Let you see what I'm seeing. Line 56. It does not like I gotta figure out what it doesn't like at the moment. I think, oh, I see what the problem is. It doesn't like the fact that I'm multiplying times 2 the message string when I'm trying to multiply times 2 the string height. So let's just fix that really quick. And I agree, that's not the right way to do it. So let's just go. It's a really quick fix. Looking for top left, and then here we go. Change this over to this. Try again. Big game. Yeah, man. You going to MGC to Beasley, bro? Wisconsin, April 11th and 12th. Okay, here we go. Almost in.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Oh yeah, there we go. POW. There's the POW right there. Use one. It decrements the special. And then try to use it again. I can't use it again. Just down fast. It gets down to 0. Perfect. Exactly the way we need it. I think the spacing needs to be just a little bit better though. I don't like that it's that far down. Like the players can see a lot. I'm going to move it up. Try to move it away from where the player is. Let's try this again. Alright. And shouldn't be that hard to do, but man, we got that worked out really quickly. I'm actually pretty pleased that that did not take long at all. Okay, here we are. So instead of multiplying it times 2, I do like the 2 position, and then we're making sure that we are at least as far down as we make sure that we're at least as far down as the bottom of message lives by doing the string height, and then I think what we'll do is just add 2 instead of multiply times 2. If we add 2 more pixels, that should give a nice spacing beneath the lives. And so let's just go check that out real quick. All right, here we go. Try again.
Sky Mission 1.
Yeah, like
Death at dusk. Go!
Well, the other thing about the Griffin special is I think it should continue to do damage as it moves up because it looks like it doesn't connect with enemies, but I think part of it is something on screen right when it's going off screen, and so therefore it's having a hard time connecting with everything. So I think it should continue to kill enemies as long as the screen that it leaves behind is on screen, which isn't long after it goes off the screen, but I want to make sure that that is also killing enemies. So one other thing I want to do is fix this HUD display. So it jumps out of the way, but it doesn't go fast enough. I want to make it jump jump out of the way a little bit faster. So let's do that tonight as well. And I also see above, whenever I do swipe on these necrostars, the blast is right on top of the Skycurser, just hitting where it's supposed to be. And I thought I had that fixed the other day. So for now, I'm going to fix the Griffin special. And so I think what that is going to entail is actually just fixing the hitbox of the sprite and adding the Griffin trail to the damage that can be done. So let's look at this real quick. The specials. Right now, the special occurs with this particular sprite, and the height of the sprite is 174. The whole screen is a total of 240, so 174 is pretty big. Just to show you what this covers, let me make sure you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah, you're able to see my monitor. So just to show you what this covers, you know, it's covering the entire sprite as opposed to something like this, where it's just covering the exact dimensions of the sprite, basically. I could go precise and have it just connect with whatever touches it, but I basically want it to feel like it's almost killing everything on screen, even though it might not be touching everything exactly. So I want it to cover the entire height of this sprite window that I have, which again totals 174, and that's a huge amount. Well, the other thing is there's this trail that gets left behind, and this is the trail, and the height of this trail is only 50. But I think what I'm going to do to ensure supreme badassery with the Griffin special is to also edit this sprite and make that sprite 174 pixels as well. So we'll just go in here, resize canvas. I don't do any artwork, but I am familiar with some of these editing, some of this editing capability in GameMaker. They give you some basic editing capabilities. The guy who does our artwork, Chris, he does it all in Photoshop and sends it over to me when he's done. But we're going to not keep the aspect ratio. We're going to maintain the origin, make sure the origin is the center so that it doesn't add a whole bunch to the bottom or a whole bunch to the top. Instead, it'll keep it right in the middle, and then 174 pixels tall, and that should basically fix everything. And now I'm going to do the same thing for this, which is modify the mask. Right now you see the mask is automatic. I'm going to set it to the full image, and that should make like everything behind the Griffin connect with enemies as well. And this may just fix our problem with those with the units that it feels like it's not connecting to. And again, one other thing I have to fix with the Griffin itself is to make sure that it's still connecting with units when it goes off screen. Right now I feel like it's not. So yeah, I just made that up. So all right, so here we go. This does mean that we're gonna have to do something slightly different, which is also make sure that the trail that's left behind by the Griffin also has a step event. We kind of just do what we're doing with this guy, which is script weapon attack self.id, and I will make a concession for this guy. Concession is probably not the exact right term, but I'll make an exception for this guy over in the other file. So step event, step, drop in the weapon attack, and this guy, his animation is controlled by the Griffin. So in case you're wondering how this works, I'll just show you really quickly. The Griffin movement is what is controlling it. So if we look at that script, Skycurser specials, Griffin movement, we are basically, once we get to here, we're making sure the trail has been created. If it has not been created, we run this right here. And then we say, okay, trail has been created, so we only create the trail once. Remember, this isn't a step event, so we have to make sure that it doesn't get activated again by setting a variable like from, a Boolean from true to false. That keeps it from coming in here again. And then we set it at the XY of the Griffin itself, and I probably need to say argument 0.xy, but it seems to have accepted what I had in the first place. So argument 0.x, argument 0.y, create the Griffin trail, and set the depth to +1, which will put it one layer behind the Griffin itself. And somehow, maybe it's under sprite change. Let me just look at this for a second. Maybe the oh, here it is, Griffin Trail movement. Where is this occurring at? Thought I would see that right inside of the Griffin special. Oh, it's on the end step event. That's right. A couple days ago I set that up, and I've noticed whenever you have to attach one object to another object, using the end step event keeps it from basically jumping as it's moving across the screen trying to keep up with the other object. So the end step just keeps it really smooth, and that's where that script is occurring at. Trail movement and trail animation. So let's look at the animation really quickly. Make sure the animation stays large until it needs to begin shrinking and fading. So here's what I mean by that. If we look at the Griffin trail, here it is in its large format, and then once it gets past a couple of pixels, it then will begin to shrink. And so I keep it on frames basically 0 and 1, the first two frames of the image, until it gets to the end of this, basically until the Griffin gets to the end of the screen, and then it starts to fade. Okay, so that's what all this is doing right here. And then we need to make sure that the Griffin trail has almost the same, and I'm just going to make sure one more time that I put in here what I thought I did, which is the weapon attack. That's good. And let's copy this guy because we're going to need that to make sure that the weapon attack covers what we need it to cover. So weapon attack should be right here. And in here we basically have all these, basically we're saying what kind of impact each one of these can have. I'm noticing now that I'm going to have to go back and set a Griffin trail impact so that we can set this variable right here, which gets used throughout the script. So first of all, let me just write this: else if script object type argument 0.id object Griffin trail. I copied it, but I didn't paste it. Let's just use this, paste, and this guy will be Griffin. Let's just say, yeah, Griffin trail impact, and we'll make sure that gets set on the special, specifically the trail init. Griffin trail impact, we got to make sure also that we basically, I want it to be the same power as whatever the power was on the Griffin itself, and that would be set here. Griffin impact at 300. Basically it'll do 300 damage whenever it connects with an enemy, and I think we're even multiplying the damage times 10. Although this doesn't exactly hold up when we're fighting Gaki. but it definitely is powerful when it's touching anything else. It kills everything else instantly. So Gaki, I think we're not doing anything special here. Weapon impact times global hit impact. Yeah, it's not like extremely obvious to me right now why in the world the Griffin impact would not be as strong as you think it would be against Gaki. But I mean, I did kill him pretty quickly with about what seemed like about maybe 30 or 40 Griffin specials, and that wasn't bad. But I would think, based on the global hit impact, that it should be 10 times 300 basically once it hits that. So, and Gaki barely has 3,000 health. I don't even think he has 3,000. So I'm going to have to look into that, why exactly it doesn't feel like you're killing him as fast as you should be with the Griffin. Alright, Griffin Trail impact. We wanted to make sure that Griffin Trail init was set to perfect. Griffin Trail impact, perfect. Okay. So now I think we've done everything we need to do to make sure the trail connects with something as well, with enemies as well. And this may fix our problem with, like, why does it feel like everything is not quite dying like you think it should. But I'm going to do a little bit of overkill here and make sure, and just make sure that the Griffin is connecting with units when it's off screen. So let me just look through this here for a minute. Movement, outside room. This is interesting. I'm not destroying it. Am I destroying it in the animation? Yes, I am destroying it in the animation, in the Griffin Trail animation specifically. Argument 0 is Gaki. Is Griffin. And this is Griffin Trail. So we want to destroy everything. And placeholder is fine. I'm not really gonna, it's not really doing anything right now except for maybe causing a little bit of load on the system until it gets destroyed. But it's like very minimal, and just in case I need to revisit this, I'll leave this here. And for now, and I don't think just because it's outside the room, basically if it's off to the right, I don't think that it's not doing damage based on what I see. So I'm going to see if the trail, fixing the trail will, and letting the trail do damage as well, will fix kind of the feeling of attacking whenever we're attacking other enemies. Speedrun, Plox, P10X. Oh, go. You want me to go all the way to Gaki? Is that what you're saying? Just fast forward. Alright, so we're going back in. We are compiling, so take about 20-30 seconds here. And almost done. I think what I'll do is fast forward to the second part where right when he drops below the clouds, because we've got several waves of enemies right there. That'd be a perfect chance to use the Griffin special.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Okay, like I said, I'm going to just go ahead and fast forward. I feel it should. Fast forward. good about how it's behaving, so that I can keep testing to basically reset or get out of the game. Alright. So let's set the limit higher on the specials. That's probably in here on the create. Oh no, it's in level 1, that's right. Controller room level 1, create event, and we're looking at, let's just set this to 30 for now. Should be more than enough for testing purposes. So what could be causing this issue? I've got an idea similar to what I did the other day, and I'm gonna basically turn off the extra animation for that enemy to see if that's what the problem is, because if that's what the problem is, then I need more work on that enemy's animation. So let's try this again, and this time we're going to turn off the animation, and we're just going to kill the enemy immediately when it has less than 0 hit points. If this is true, I mean, it's a somewhat simple fix. It's just basically removing the animation. It's basically having another object for the animation as opposed to letting the object have its own animation and then die. And that's basically what I did with the blood explosion on the floating eyeballs. So we're on enemies, and specifically we're looking for the popcorn eyeball. Here we go. Step event. And it's calling script enemy 3 die. There it is. So I'm looking at sprites. Wrong thing. Scripts. Enemy 3 die. And this is what we did last time. We just did something like this where we did an instance destroy. I did this the other day when I was testing initially, and I feel like I fixed a lot in terms of just kind of how it connects with the katana. It feels really good. But basically what's going to happen as soon as it has less than 0 hit points, it's just going to disappear off the screen instead of having some sort of like cool looking death animation. If that's the problem, we'll be in a good spot, because we'll just sit here and address that until it feels right as well. Cool to Beastly. See you soon, man. Okay, got several opportunities to try this
Mission
right here at the
1.
beginning with
Death
ways
at
of units.
dusk. Go!
That feels good. That feels right. Boom. Yep, that feels pretty. Yep, that's right. That is exactly what it should feel like. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward. Yep, that's about right. Right there. That means we have an animation problem. So we're going to spend some time trying to fix that. And it could be a simple fix. I may not have to go removing the death animation from the enemy object, but we'll see about that. All right. Get out of here. Sup, Chris? Good to see you, man. Hey, I'm gonna hop on Skype, man. Do you want to hop on Skype? If you're wondering who Skycurser is, that's Chris. Chris does a lot of different things for us. He does all the graphics. He does all the music. He's the one kind of with the vision of the game, where he wants it to go and what he wants it to do, and we all, kind of take some cues from where he's at and what he wants to do with this. So, see if Chris wants to hop on Skype too. So we'll hop on here. Good, babe. What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you perfect.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Dude, dude. Um, so I spent some time yesterday working on the, the last 2 days really, trying to work on the, getting this extra call coming in. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to decline again. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, for whatever reason, it just tries to connect twice or something. But I spent a lot of time working on the explosion for the floating eyeball and got it to a really good spot, man. I basically separated the explosion from the eyeball, and it's back to, destroyed immediately as soon as the katana connects with them.
Nice.
And it destroys everything. It doesn't just destroy, 2 out of 5 that it hits. It destroys everything, and it feels exactly the way it should, in my
That's
opinion.
awesome.
So, I don't know how long you've been on here, but I've been working. I did a little bit of work on the Griffin special. I've already got that pretty much where I want it. The Griffin special, basically, I added the limitation so that we can set it to 3, or for now, while I'm doing testing, I've got it set to 30.
Okay.
And the little counter shows up there above, right beneath guys. Information, with like three lives and stuff, right next to the kill counter. And once he gets down to 0, he can't use anymore. So we've got all that working exactly the way we
Perfect.
need. I added a little bit of extra functionality in terms of the Griffin animation as it flies off screen. It's taken up like 174 pixels out of 240. There's like barely any screen left, right?
Okay.
Which is perfect. You can't tell. It doesn't look like that, but it connects with anything that's at that, right?
Right. There's like energy around
Yeah.
it that yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I actually went and added the exact same thing. You can see my screen. I'll show you. Basically, I did the exact same thing with the trail behind the Griffin, because I had a maybe a sneaking suspicion that the trail needed to be doing that too. So now it is also at 174 pixels high,
Okay.
and it can also kill enemies, but I mean it's literally straight behind the Griffin, so it probably will never kill anything unless something flies from top down into it or from the bottom up into it.
Yeah, got it. And
Um,
that doesn't
yeah,
happen
so
at
it
all.
shouldn't, and it's not even on screen that long, right? So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But when I tested that, I thought maybe this will fix, kind of the feeling of the when you use a special on those rows and rows of eyeballs, right? The popcorn eyeballs when you drop down into the city. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we just tested it, and we didn't. It wasn't like connecting with everything slash killing everything, and it should be. Well, I just ran another test. I turned off the death animation, and everything dies just the way it should.
Okay. So it still has
So the death animation still needs some work on the popcorn eyeball. Yep. That's where I'm at right now, and what I'm trying to work through at the moment. So
makes sense. Makes sense.
cool, man.
Well, Brad, Phil's here, and
Phil.
it
Hey
looks
guys,
like
if
it's
you're
sold.
hold on a sec. Hey, guys, if you're on stream, we got the trifecta here.
Yeah.
We got me, Chris, and Phil. We're the 3 devs who are all working together on Skycurser. So I didn't know you guys were hanging out. So good to hear from you, Phil. What's up?
Yay, man. Hey, yeah, I stopped over to Chris's to pick up the T-shirts that we're sending off to, these early Skycurser fans.
The Turbo
And
fans, right?
These fans. So we got shirts going to France, shirts going to Sweden, and then shirts going. We got let's see, in the U.S. we're going as far as Seattle. So it's feeling good.
Dang. Okay.
We
Tight.
did pretty good, Brad. We sold quite a few shirts. I don't want to brag over
Sure.
the internet about it, but yeah, we did pretty damn well. So we feel good about it.
We recouped our costs. That's the main thing. Like,
Yeah.
We needed to sell those shirts because we
everything's
spent.
out of pocket right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting out of here. I'm headed back to hang out with my wife.
Cool, man. Good to see you. Good to hear from you, dude. Take it easy.
Take it easy, dude.
All right. So what are you working on right now, Chris? Anything in particular?
Right now, I'm really pushing to have a lot of the initial background work for Stage 2 done by the time we get back to MGC, because I really think like we can kind of go back heads down, like, okay, let's really start working on Stage 2 after MGC.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
So I'm thinking if I can pass you a bunch of art assets, I think you're actually gonna be. This is gonna be one of those instances where you're actually gonna be faster than me, because background stuff just takes so much crazy time.
For real, dude. Yeah. I know.
So what I'm trying to do is have as much background work done so that you can just, because you're already going to know how to do a lot of the background stuff, because it's basically just layers scrolling at different rates, right?
Right.
But there's a couple of little nuanced things that I want to talk about that'll be a little different with the background, but nothing that I think is going to give you a ton of trouble. So I figured if I didn't have everything ready, then that was going to create a bottleneck, and I definitely didn't want to do that. So I'm just pushing real hard to have that stuff ready for right after we get back from MGC.
Yeah, makes sense.
One little thing I was just going to throw out there about the Griffin special, and I hate even bringing it up because it is a detail, but just having that white flash right before you do it.
Oh,
right?
It's already there, dude. I already got it. It's in there.
Oh, nice.
You probably haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I didn't see it. Well, I saw you doing the super, but I think it's because the frame rate on the stream isn't quite right.
You might have missed the flashes, but the flash is occurring. Yeah. It's definitely there.
Nice.
So when I activate it, the screen flashes like the same instant I activate it.
Awesome.
So that's already in place. We're in a good spot for that.
Perfect.
All right, so just feel free to jump in or chime in if you got anything while I'm working here, Chris. And you don't have to stay on Skype if you don't want to either, but for sure, just hop in if you got something.
Yep, sounds good.
Basically, back to current task, I'm looking through the different, for anybody who's looking here, I'm kind of looking at the different sub-images of this sprite. In GameMaker, those sub-images are also referred to as image indexes. And I have a concern that the image index is not correctly hitting. This was almost the exact same concern as I had the other night, but since we fixed everything and supposedly everything is running at an image speed of 1, it should fix this problem. But I'm wondering if I turn this down to 12. I want to see what happens if I can go connect with a whole bunch of enemies again and see what happens here. Because greater than or equal to 12 should be 12 or 13. Basically, those are the only two other image indexes for that sprite. I'm going to go ahead and compile and go in game again. Chris, if you're watching, you can see kind of how this works.
Yep. Also, anybody that's watching right now, if you guys have any questions about any of the graphics or anything like that, I'm watching, I'm listening, so feel free to join in on the chat, and I'll be sure to respond. Anything about the vision in terms of where we're trying to go with the game, later stages, stuff like that. We're excited to talk about as much of that as we have planned out. So
Yep, absolutely. Alright, here we go. Game.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Got a bug going on here. Not sure what that bug is, first of all. So, the bug I'm looking at is here, and it says script enemy 3 die, line 4, argument 0 collision on equals true. It's having a problem with the fact that it can't find that argument 0, which I'm not exactly sure why, because it's not like I changed anything. I just re-enabled the script. This is why, because I'm doing an instance destroy and then it's trying to finish the script, which has multiple other things in it, and it can't find the instance anymore because that instance destroy I left in there without taking out. So let's try this again. Who did the sound design? A lot of 8-bit sounds. BFXR, that's for you, Chris.
that was me.
Chris,
Yeah,
hang tight for just a second. Let's finish this test on the game, and then I'll let you talk to that so that you're not drowned out by the noise of the game.
yeah, for sure.
So we'll answer that question in just a second. Black Ops FX. Alright, so here we go. Game.
Mission 1. Death at dusk.
Okay, that should have fixed the bug. We'll verify, yep, that bug. Okay, I'm going to fast forward so we get down to the city scene. Alright, here we go. Still a problem. So that did not fix it. That's fine. Totally fine. Alright. Alright, so before I go changing a lot and trying to remove that animation and taking it out and adding it to its own controller, similar to what I did with the explosion on the Feb, I'm gonna just review the script for a little bit and see if I feel like there's any reason why it's not ever hitting this instance destroy like we think it should. So, but that's all I'm gonna be focusing on for a minute. Chris, I think you're available now. Maybe talk about the sound and just kind of the questions that Black Ops had.
Yeah. So thanks for chiming in and asking a question. Yeah, I design all the sounds for the game. Sometimes I start with there's lots of great websites out there that you can purchase royalty-free stock sounds. There's a really nice one that's very professional called SoundSnap. Sometimes I'll start with bass sounds, like, and kind of blend sounds and add effects to them and things like that. But a lot of times I'll build sounds from scratch. I have a background in audio production. I actually have more experience in audio than probably any other element in that I'm involved in on game design. But yeah, so lots of building sounds from scratch, lots of Dolly type stuff, or Foley, I think is the right word, where we're even making sounds with our mouth and stuff sometimes. Just
I didn't know that.
And then we have a good friend, or I have a close friend named Mitchell Lucas, who actually has done some voice acting for some other games that are out there, and he's doing all the voice acting and all the voiceover work. So kind of a hodgepodge of all those things, but yeah, all the sounds are original in the sense that we're not just purchasing stock sounds and using them right out of the gate. Any sounds that we use, that we purchase, or that we have that are royalty free, or we'll manipulate those heavily, or build off of multiple sounds. But yeah, all the sounds in the game are completely original Skycurser.
Only heard 10 seconds of gameplay and can tell its pros sound wicked. That's what he said.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, dude. It's definitely like everything else in the game, labor of love. I mean, I'll take as long as it takes to get something right. I mean, I think we worked on the bursting sound of popping the first little enemies. We probably did like 10 different iterations of that until we found the one that we thought sounded the meatiest and the gnarliest. So, we spend lots of time on everything, and sounds is no exception.
I think I've got an idea. Well, man, I think I'm just gonna have to take out the animation altogether.
That's super interesting, Brad, though, to me, because I've always felt like, man, I guess just those guys swim in such a certain pattern that it's hard to hit them all. But
No, man, it's totally the animation for sure. We proved it more than once. But the reason why it's missing, I feel like it's basically not hitting this particular block of code right here for anybody who's kind of like trying to figure out what's going on with me. It's not hitting this particular block of code. This script is hit every single step. We have 60 steps in the room. This is a room with 60 steps in it, and that means that step event occurs 60 times per second, which also means the script occurs 60 times per second. And if I understand correctly, the way the sprite system works is the sub-images of the sprite should occur directly on a step. So, if your entire sprite is 10 steps, it should take 1/6 of a second to complete that sprite, generally. And so, this you would think that this would say, okay, basically what I'm doing here is I know that the enemy 3 has less than 0 hit points, so it should die. But first, we wanted to do a death animation. You can see that it works pretty decently most of the time when anything kills it. Specifically, when the shotgun or the Vulcan cannon connect with any of the units, they die pretty much as they should. But when you do this close combat with the katana, or you do a deflection with an EBP ghost missile, or you do the Griffin special, something about the animation isn't allowing these units to die because I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the connection with the death animation. I'm not exactly sure, but it feels like it's skipping over this section with each one of these guys. But I showed you a second ago, this enemy in particular has 13 frames, and about 8 of them, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So actually 0 through 7 is 8 images. And then when it gets to the 8th sub-image, which is actually the 9th sub-image because this is a 0 index, and then we go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's it. So from 8 through 13 is the death animation. What I'm feeling like we might need to do, and I'm still trying to weigh this out if possible because it's just going to be a lot of extra work, is we might need to separate this death animation out into its own sprite and object so that we can call it whenever we need to, and we'll just put it right on. If we have to call it and do it that way, we'll just put it right on top of the XY position of this particular sprite whenever it's ready to die. But what I think is happening, so basically our step event should be taking it 0 through 7 and repeating 0 through 7, 0 through 7, 0 through 7, all the way, as far as the image is going across the screen until it loses all of its hit points down to 0, and then it should allow it to come into the 8th frame and begin to explode, and then basically we're destroying it at the very end of the of that frame. So I've just got an idea while I was sitting here talking, and I'm wondering if the 0 through 7 script is, you know, because I'm basically controlling the animation with this guy right here, and I'm pretty sure basically I'm setting it 0 through 7, 0 through 7, 0 through 7 as it's going across the screen. I'm wondering if this is a little bit too greedy and it doesn't know if the hit points are less than 0 or not. We'll see. Okay, so this could be the problem right here. I feel like this could definitely be it. So we're checking to see if argument 0, which is the sprite or the object for enemy 3 itself, is if dying is equal to false, then we go ahead and let it run 0 through 7. I basically say if the image index is greater than 7, then set it back to 0. So that's kind of how it loops all the way across the screen in its particular animation. Well, if this never gets set to true correctly, then it will not think that it should die because the image index will never reach this. Sorry, wrong one. It will never reach this 12 as you would expect it to. So it's checking to see if argument 0.dying is equal to false. It checks it the very first time it comes in here, tries to set it to true, and then sets the image index to 8 immediately. So I'm wondering if there's just a problem with argument 0.dying. I might try. I mean, I don't think it should, basically, because I basically set it to true the very first time it comes through here, and I never set it back to false again. Just going to test this, though, and basically go back to the animation and say if argument 0.dying is equal to false, or I could say if argument 0.hp, let me keep what I have here. And then say .hp is greater than 0. Otherwise, it should not ever. It should just let it play all the way out. If basically what this will say is if it's less than or equal to 0, then it will not stop it. It will not reset it. Are you sure that's executing show debug? Which piece? This piece in the animation or the piece in the death script? Show debug. I don't always use that. As a matter of fact, I know I've used it before, but not that often. Show debug, I think, just shows a message and just pops out right when. Well, I know it's executing sometimes. I think it just allows you to put a message in there. Show debug message, yeah. I know that section in the death script, yeah, after greater than 7, I know it's executing sometimes because I don't let the enemy. There are some instances where where every instance for that particular object with every instance, I don't let that instance die unless it goes up above 13. So here's that. So I'm definitely killing them. I'm just not killing them as fast as I think I should. Yeah, I see your message. Show debug message var plus string var. Yeah, I mean I can go ahead and write it in here to kind of show you. Show debug message. Death animation. And I will revert what I just added so that so we know for sure without me changing anything new that this is occurring. I'll go ahead and play. I should have probably played as debug mode, but I know this works as well. I don't need this open. Alright, going back in, do some testing. Well, I've got a different way to do debugging. I'll show you in a second.
Sky Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
Feels like it didn't execute like I thought it would. One other thing related to that. The way I'm doing debug messages right now, I will show you. Hold on. It's ds list add global.debug message and death animation. So I'm going to comment this guy out. We should see this here. So basically, can you run windowed so you can see the window at the same time? Yeah, give me a second. I'll do that.
Mission 1.
Do that in just a second. Let's try this first.
Go!
Debug message. I've got this incorrect. So abort script DM, and I just changed this the other night. That's why I was having a hard time remembering this. Let's try this again. I've got a script which basically correctly adds this to the global debug message, which might even be message debug, which is why I think I just errored out right there. So I'm recompiling here. And I'll go change the windowed mode real quick. Give me a second.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
There it is. So it's definitely hitting the death animation. And it's just re-putting this message right in the same place. I don't re-add the message if it... I basically don't re-add my debug messages if they occur again. I should probably set a variable so that I can re-add them if I need to, but right now I'm not doing that. So it's definitely hitting the death animation before I change anything. The problem is it doesn't hit it as often as we need it to. But I'll run it in windowed mode so you can check this out. Oops. Hit OK, and then go. Give me a second. I'm trying to get the exact syntax. I don't always go in and out of window full screen. I'm trying to get the specific method. Window get full screen, window set full screen. Window set full screen false. Okay. I'll just make sure that I don't go into window mode. I should have already fixed it with what I already added, but with the preference, I'm just going to add that back in here. Chris, he's saying, damn, that intro sound good. Yeah, you saw. Okay. Windows set full screen. False. Alright, that should keep it from going full screen, and it's going to look really small when it first comes on screen because it's 320 by 240. In my screen right now, resolution is like 1366 by 760 or some weird resolution, but I'll expand it and make it larger. So we know it's hitting the death animation, but I wanted to see if I could force it to be a little bit easier to hit the death animation, which I'm not even sure. I mean, still looking at my code, it doesn't necessarily to me look like something is wrong when I look at this. Chris did the pixel art as well, Black Ops. Chris, the dude who was just talking, and the guy who's also the sound guy. He's like multi-talented. He could do anything, literally. Ayo, thanks, man. Thanks for saying nice game. Yeah, I just use show debug because it's easy to run in windowed mode. You could be watching a whole string of vars execute. It really helps find stubborn bugs. Yeah, that's good, man. I'll check that out and see if that might be more helpful. I bet it will be. I don't normally use it. Alright, here we go. I'm going to turn it to my monitor. It keeps wanting to switch back. Okay.
Skycurser. Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
It's running a little slow when I'm running in windowed mode. I'm just fast forwarding to the city. Here we go, I'm trying to activate Griffin. Yep, still got a problem here. So still not quite working the way we need it to. But not to worry, because this is definitely achievable. Alright. Okay, so I think that about does it. I think I'm going to have to go separate these animations out and then just do an instance destroy right after I run a script, which basically controls the death animation. And I don't even really need to create a script. I'll just create an extra object, and it'll be the death object for enemy 3. But I do need to split up the sprite. No, you know what? I don't need to do that. I can still use the sprite and just force it to have a similar animation the way I'm doing this guy. So let's just do that, yeah. I mean, I'd rather not create another sprite if I don't have to. So let's just do this. Create object, enemy 3, death. What am I calling it? Yeah, for enemy 2. Okay, object enemy 3 death. Choose a sprite, enemy 3 specifically. Create an animation event, other animation end. And on animation end, we'll just do the destroy the instance. And we will make sure that when it's created, the image index. Hold on, what's going on here? Delete. We'll make sure the image index starts at 8. Hashtag hacks. Yeah, Chris is posting a picture of the dedicated cabinet. Alright, image index 8. And literally it should be done as soon as it hits 13. We'll see about that, because I'm not sure if for some reason GameMaker might try to make it run through all the sub images, but I think if we started at 8, it should just go 8 through 13 and be done. So let's try that first, and then on the death animation here, we'll just go instance destroy, if I can spell it right. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do a blood explosion right before we destroy. This is a different kind of blood explosion. If Skycurser has any lives left, we'll go ahead and do a sound explosion, and then we'll go instance create. I'll actually do the instance create as soon as we know. Instance create XY. Yep. So Chris is mentioning about the PCB that we're creating, the personal circuit board that will allow. We're trying to create a standard similar to like a JAMA standard for the arcade. JAMA basically controls all the controls for the player, the up, down, left, right, and the general buttons that are available. We're trying to do that though for an entire PCB, so that you can basically take the PCB and connect it to the correct monitor and have all the, the hard drive on there exactly the way you need it, the video card on there. If you need Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on there, we're trying to add all those as well. So, but yeah, that we're still working on, and it's got to be just right, and it's got to be affordable. Object. Specifically, object enemy 3 death. Enemy 3 death. So it's going to create itself right here. The explosion. I think I'm going to let the explosion occur at a random place. Random x equals x. Let's do choose. No, let's it's not range. Random range. Random range between -10 +10, and random y equals random range, same, -10 +10, because basically that's going off of the point of origin for this enemy is like right in the center of it. So this should give it a good, 10 pixels up or above or below or left or right of the specific sprite. This should randomly explode in one of those places. So that should be good. And we'll go x plus random x. That should take care of that. Y plus random y. And we're good there. Global lives left do that. And I think that's it. Everything else we can comment out, not necessarily destroy it. Play. That cabinet is ridiculous. That's awesome. Guys, thanks so much, man. We really appreciate this kind of feedback. Alright, going back in game here. Let's see how this works comparatively. I think we're going to be in a good spot. Sure. I said sure.
Skycurser.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
One.
Testing.
Death at dusk. Go.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. Oh, Chris, it's so crazy. Boom. Even better than it was. Oh my gosh, so good. Chris, hop on, dude.
I'm here. Dude.
Woo! This is really good, man. This update, it's insane. It's basically fixed. Oh man, this is good. Okay, let's fast forward. We'll prove this down in the city. Woo! Oh my gosh. That's it.
I can't wait to see.
That's it. It's a wrap.
Oh wow, that's huge. Yeah. Oh man, when there's a specific moment where you got a bunch of the PEVs, but then you also got an EVP.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's insane. It is insane. It feels so right. It's not. You can't really explain it other than it just didn't feel right. It kind of looked right, and you could kind of tell there was a problem, but this feels so right, dude. Wow. It's on. Okay. Knock shit out tonight. Game over. Okay. Dying to see some more of the animation. I'll use skeleton tools or Sharp D. I'm not sure what that is, but pixel art is another level of grinding. Yes, it is. Pixel art is brutal. Have to be a little insane to subject yourself to it. Says Chris. Yep. No, the city background took me like 100 hours. Level 2 is even crazier. That's awesome. Alright, dude. I can't even explain, Chris, man. This is like whole nother level.
Yeah, dude. Well, one of the things is you fixed a bug that I think was always kind of there, and we notice it, but not really. And now it's like the gameplay's going to be even that much more clean, you know?
Oh man, yeah, it just feels incredible. Yep. I think now that I've got everything separated out, I can slow down that blood explosion animation just barely, because I think if it slowed down just barely, it would feel better.
Yeah. No, I agree. It looks like it's a little. I didn't notice it at first yesterday or the day before when we looked at it, but at that fast speed, it's really hard to see.
It's simple. We got this fixed right now. So image speed.
Black Ops, it was a bug that it was
0.5.
like certain weapons weren't hitting the really small enemies as consistently. We have a sword, we have a shotgun, a katana blade, and a minigun.
And the Griffin special now too.
And the special move, yeah. And we'll have more special moves and weapon upgrade, level up things and things like that too. But for right now, we're still really early.
We're trying to get ready for MGC.
Yeah, we're going to Midwest Gaming Classic out in
Wisconsin, just in case anybody didn't hear that, because Chris's Skype just cut out really quick. But you're back, I can hear you.
The bug was just, it was one of those things where you could play through the game and not even notice it, but every once in a while you'd swing the katana, and you're like, I feel like I hit that guy, but then it wouldn't hit him. But now, just from watching Brad play, I haven't played this most recent, obviously, but it looks even cleaner.
Yeah, it's correct, man. All right. I'm looking for it. I'm trying to remember where I set it, and I know it's in the controller.
Brad, did you add the real huge bomb sound to the Griffin special yet?
No, I wasn't exactly sure I mean, I can do that easily. That's not going to be hard. That'll just it's
Yeah,
like one
I
line.
was
But
I'm
I'm not
working on.
exactly sure which sound you wanted me to add.
Yeah, it's the nuclear explosion sound from when Gaki gets killed.
Okay, okay,
You know what I'm talking about? The
yeah, yeah.
real huge one.
Well, I don't want to do the fuse sound right before the explosion. I'm just going to do the explosion.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
And I'm working on a custom sound for that one that's brand new, but I just I don't have it done just yet. I'll have
Okay.
it done probably this weekend.
Okay. All right, so that's easy. Let's just do that right now since you're reminding me of it. And once we have that in, that's pretty much everything for Griffin special. Did you see the POW text?
Yeah, I was wondering that it looks great. Could you put it on the same line as guys?
Oh
So it's
yeah,
like
sure, I can do that. That's easy.
guys, like two spaces, and
Yeah,
then pals.
easy, easy, easy. Um, this thing's acting like it's trying to go back in game, and I didn't even hit it. I didn't even make it go back in game. So I'm gonna have to cancel out in a second. Close. All right. Enemy. I know that we gotta look at the boss, specifically the boss explosion. Oh, that's the sprite. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sprite, enemies, boss. Have you guys used Unity before or just Game Maker? Um, Al Bearbergs, I think that's how you would say your name. We haven't used Unity. This is this is our first project together, and this is our first game that we've ever built. And so we started out with Game Maker. It was an affordable price. I know Unity. I feel sorry for you when he tells you he needs new art, but uh, we saw that Game Maker had a fairly low ceiling in terms of price if you get a bunch of add-ons. I'm not sure exactly how Unity compares. I know you can do basically the same thing you can with Game Maker. You can use it for free up to a certain point. But no, we have not used Unity yet. Game Maker is the only one that we've used up to this point.
But
Um,
with that said, I mean, I think for the type of game we're building now, this being kind of like an arcade game without like super crazy complex gameplay, I think Game Maker's actually been pretty nice. I don't want to speak for you, Brad, but I feel like it's provided us with the tools that we need to make exactly the type of game we're trying to make. So I have heard Unity is just nicer,
yeah,
but I haven't really experienced it myself personally. But we haven't hit a brick wall where we feel like Game Maker isn't allowing us to be successful. And I have heard Black Ops. I have heard similar that Game Maker is actually pretty damn nice for 2D.
right. Yep, that's what I've heard too. I was just getting ready to say that. Like, apparently everybody that talks about the two really likes Unity for 3D and Game Maker for 2D. Like everybody says that I've talked to so far, which granted isn't a ton of people who are developers who are going back and forth between the two, but makes sense, I think. Um, Still looking for the exact script. Cool, I'm a game and app developer and I use Unity for everything. I haven't used Game Maker since like 2006. Awesome, dude. Indie Developers Unite. Yeah, I'm a software engineer professionally, but I'm not a game developer, so this is literally my first go at it. Had to read a lot of documentation even to kind of get to this point, but I'm always open to learning and reading more documentation and trying other tools as well. But right now, all of our assets are here, and just trying to kind of really push the limits of it as well, too. You could tell it was built by programmers that make 2D game. I love it. I'd never do 3D in Game Maker, but for 2D, it's the only thing I'll touch. That's hilarious. That's awesome. Okay, loop, movement, animation, orbs fired, boss 1 die, movement final. I think this is it, movement final. Point direction, point distance. Ooh, not quite. What about actually in the boss? In the missile explosion. That's probably it. Nope. That's where the sound should be, but it's not there. I bet. Let's go look at loop 2. This is the craziest loop you've ever seen. If you're looking at the code right now, this was a lot of scripting by hand for the boss. But I don't see what I think I need to see in here. Alright, let's just go sound. Sound boss 1. Scripts. Search. Sound boss 1. And I can just go look at the sounds too. It's probably even easier. I mean, we don't have a ton of sounds.
Brad, Danielle's right now looking for a pilot suit for Guy for MGC.
Yes. That's awesome.
She's having trouble finding one.
Dude, we have one, man. I don't know if it would be too big for him, but we actually have one because, of course, Liam, you know, he's only a little bit ahead of you, but he had it when he was pretty small, but it might be just a little too big. I'm not sure, but hit me up if you guys need one because we might be able to just let you guys borrow one. Devin, thanks for the comments, man. Good question. I think, Devin, I feel like, I mean, I don't have experience programming games in Java or C++. Up to this point, this is all I've used for programming in games. This is our first venture in game development. So I can't really speak to the two, but I'm feeling like, one, my computer is a little bit slow anyways. It's a little bit it's starting to get up there in age, but more importantly, it's I think GameMaker probably adds more overhead than it should. I'm not sure, though. I would have to look at a couple of different game engines to see how I felt about that.
One thing I'll jump into is that, you know, this game is using this, I would say, very high-end 16-bit sprites, so it's not really super taxing on the CPU. I mean, I think when you start to see how many sprites we have on screen at any given time, I mean, it could potentially bog down a slower computer, but performance for us wasn't a really, really huge issue because it's not like we're pushing tons of anti-aliasing or anything like that. Like everything that happens visually on screen is hand-drawn and done with sprites, so there's not a lot of CPU-intensive stuff. So, and I don't know if you heard this element earlier on, but we're building this specifically for arcade. We're actually working on a piece of hardware to run the game on, so as long as the game runs smoothly on the arcade hardware we're working on, then we're happy with it. And, you know, to be honest, I think, as Brad was saying, you know, we kind of just chose GameMaker for a lot of kind of just superfluous reasons up front, and it's worked really well for us, and we're kind of knee-deep in it now because we're kind of committed because we've gone so far with making Skycurser in it, but it hasn't let us down yet. We've had a really good time with it, and I mean, the game to me, when you're playing it on an arcade machine, because that's how we play the game, that's how we test it, and that's how we take it around for other people to play it, it feels just like an arcade game, at least to me, that I grew up playing in the early 90s, late 80s, so that's all we want out of it.
Yep. Dude, Black Ops, I really like that, what you just said about the YYC for Windows. This is really good because I think C++ would probably compile everything a little bit better than the way GameMaker does it, and probably therefore make it run faster. I'm pretty sure that would be the case and run a little bit more smooth. That's really exciting to hear. All right, Sound Boss 1 missile explosion occurs on Griffin Special Init. I also wanted to fix one thing while I'm thinking about it because otherwise going to take a while to get back to this, and that is the cockpit frame step event. Here we go.
Hey Brad, sorry, if you're in there with the cockpit frame,
yeah,
I was watching you play a whole bunch today, and um, eventually, just for anyone that's watching, that cockpit camera with your pilot in it, that will enter and leave the screen based on context in the game. Like when certain things happen, he comes in and kind of gives you a signal that you did well, or when you die, you see him die. But for now, we have it on screen all the time, and then it ducks out of the way when you go down in front of it. Just kind of explaining it to the people who are watching. But for me, Brad, I was thinking, if it could move even faster.
No, that's exactly what I'm getting ready to change. So
Okay,
you're going to like this. It's
perfect.
It's going to be way better. I'm just going to do, instead of incrementing it by pixels, I'm just going to say equals 180, and I'm going to give it a speed. Speed equals, if x is greater than 0 minus 59, speed equals, let's just try 3. And do this, whoops, same thing, except pointed at the other direction. And go 0. And then also say else. Let's try an else here and just say speed equals 0. Kill the speed.
Albert, I had to unmute my mic just to say that seems like a really cool project. The Indie Children's Museum project that you mentioned, I haven't seen it personally, but
oh, cool,
I'm sure we'll
man!
be there soon. Yeah, he did an interactive.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man!
Exhibit. Yeah, that's really cool.
Do you live in Indy, or you live somewhere else and you knew that it got the Children's Museum picked it up? Almost finished here. Object. I put the wrong number of arguments here, so I need to just fix that real quick. 10, false. Play. Oh, are you kidding me, dude? Albert, that's so tight, man. We live. Yeah, I'm sure Chris was telling you, but we live in Indy, so we should connect sometime, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, maybe sometime you could come by and see the game running on the arcade cabinet. That's really the best way to see the game. We've done one local indie event at Fountain Square Brewery. In Fountain Square, obviously, in Indianapolis, and it was really well attended. There was over 300 people came out to play. We got to play on the dedicated cabinet. I'm not sure what the next event we're going to do is going to be, but the next thing we're gearing up for is Midwest Gaming Classic here next week. But we're trying to do as many Indianapolis events as we can. We don't want to kind of flood, with the one level right now, which is all we have done. So we'll probably wait till we have the second level done to do another indie event.
Chris, do you see how fast this thing is flying in and out? It's pretty good. I could make it go even faster, but just tell me what you think, though.
That looks great. The only other thing I'm thinking, I know this is like a temporary thing, so I'd hate to even have you worry about it too much, but can you make it to where the player has to be not only in the bottom quarter quadrant, but also the back bottom, so they actually have to be right over where the...
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh, damn, that sounds great.
Yeah, we're really
excited. Do you hear that explosion? Wait, when you see it.
I can't turn it up, Brad, or else it'll get that feedback.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so crazy, dude.
I bet it does. But yeah, the Tapper arcade bar. I'm actually friends with Aaron Miller, one of the guys that is putting that together. they actually brought some of their games to our event, and we're going to have a Skycurser machine at Tappers. So it's basically a done deal at this point. They're going to buy a machine. So yeah, we're super excited about Tappers. I mean, that's like right up my alley.
That's hilarious, man. That's so crazy. All right. Yeah, so let me see if I can get that really quick. I'm getting close to time. I'm pretty much gonna have to be shutting it down right now. But let me see if I can knock this out. If y is plus than or equal to 31. Why do I have 2 here? But I'll just go and. I don't know why I had 2 right there. Y plus 31. Ah, I see. And let's say object Skycurser dot x is less than room width divided by 2. Let's just leave it at 2 for now. Okay,